But that's not bad at all. That's great. And that's all out of a $1.30 loaf of bread. And it took us an hour to make. Prep, cook, cleaning, everything, 1 hour. The easiest way to make cinnamon toast cereal, let's go. We're gonna do this 2 different ways. 1, we're gonna smash the bread. 2, we're not gonna smash the bread, and we're gonna use the crust for croutons for salads later on. Grab yourself a cutting board and a nice sharp knife. Let's take half of our loaf, cutting the crusts off of these. These are gonna be our flattened cinnamon toast cereal. Just lay your bread out. Grab yourself a clean rolling pin. If I were to make this completely nattish, then I would make bread myself. Last one. I mean, look at the difference in that. Let's get some heat in our pan and just melt some regular stick butter down in here. I'd say probably at least a tablespoon. We're gonna take our flattened bread and we're gonna cut these down into cubes. And then just put those down into our butter. Gonna give them a quick little fry. Separate all this out. I grabbed the cheapest loaf of bread that I could find at the store. All right, so let's start stirring those up. I might end up putting another tablespoon of butter in there. All right, so we did a total of 2 tablespoons. Browning really well, actually. We got the heat on medium. And these are huge. I could cut these down way smaller. All right, now that these have been incorporated with that butter on the skillet, we're gonna grab a baking tray and a rack. Throughout that rack. We've preheated the oven to 375. These are gonna go in for a start to 10 minutes. And then we're gonna check them after that. See, that's the perfect size, but I cut them a little big. We've even got sizes up to that. So we're gonna separate them out. Again, 375, we're gonna start with 10 minutes. And get ready for our next set that's not going to be smushed. So the thing about this, in 1 loaf of bread, you're going to get a whole bunch of croutons for salads, soups, anything you want to use croutons for. And you're going to get 2 different types of cereal. This isn't a lot. I would say that this is maybe 2 bowls, and that's 2 bowls. But for 4 bowls of cereal and an entire bag of croutons for $1.30, there we go. We're preheated. This is going in for 10 minutes. And while we wait those 10 minutes, we're going to go ahead and cut up our edges for our croutons. Grab your edges and cut them 3/4 of an inch. Now, while our cereal is still going for 10 minutes, what we're going to do is we're going to take those croutons, we're going to go ahead and get them started. Get some oil in there, Italian seasoning right into that pot. Yep, your hands can get messy. It's okay. That was olive oil that I'm putting in there. And again, just your run-of-the-mill Italian seasoning. I like a little black pepper on mine, a little pink Himalayan salt. Stir that up again. Give your hands a little rinse of all that oil and seasoning. Get yourself just a little bit of parchment paper, and we're going to dump these out onto our parchment paper covered in oil and seasoning. Seriously, look how good those look. Just covered in seasoning and oil. Hit it with that Parmigiano Reggiano. Right here is going to take your croutons to a level 20 on that salad. Our cereal's out, our croutons are in. These are still a little flexible, a little doughy. At this point, we're going to grab a ramekin, just a teaspoon of cinnamon. I don't tend to use cassia cinnamon. I tend to use Ceylon cinnamon. Ceylon cinnamon is way more expensive. Like this little bottle is $8. I'm going to do a teaspoon of cinnamon in with that sugar. I added another tablespoon of sugar to 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. So 2 tablespoons of sugar to 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. I'm going to use half a ramekin of honey and a fork. Drizzle some honey all over these so that cinnamon and sugar has something to stick to. I've used about a tablespoon of honey doing this. From there, let's just grab a sifter, go in with our cinnamon and sugar. I'm going to take our parchment paper out and just dump that cinnamon and sugar that has fallen through. Our rack's going back on, and this is going back in for another 10 minutes. And last but not least, our unsquished cereal. This is pretty much just a cinnamon sugar crouton. You can decide to choose to either keep the edges or not. I am, personally. I'm going to cut these in 3/4 inch strips, line them up this way, and cut those in 3/4 inch strips. I don't mind edges. I really don't. So those are perfectly fine with me. It's much easier. It's much faster. This is the simplest way to do it. The prep time on this one is way less. And I'm cutting these 2 pieces of bread at a time. This will make what seems to be a lot more. When you're done making this, you're going to be, wow, that's a lot of cereal. I'm just putting these into a pot, which we are going to use oil. We don't have to cook them down with butter and kind of like give them that butter fry before baking. I mean, I've already got almost the whole loaf done here. 1 piece of bread left, and we've only been going for 2 minutes. It means I could cut up a whole loaf in 4 minutes, get it prepped and in the oven, and have cereal done in 30 minutes. That looks a lot more than our other ones, obviously, because our bread is flattened. From there, we're going to get in there with that oil. All right, where's our cinnamon and sugar? Get those down in there in that oil. Now, I don't want to get my hands all sticky compared to the croutons, so I'm going to use a spoon on this one and just stir it, incorporate it, keep stirring it. They all look pretty well coated. Let's pull out our flattened cereal. Yes, sir. Those look delicious. Nice and brown. Our croutons are still working their way there. Let your first cereal drop down to room temp. We're going to take our non-flattened cereal. Look at how much that is. For 75 cents, that's crazy. These are not getting honey. These are just getting cinnamon, sugar, and oil. These are going in for about 20 minutes because this is a lot more bread to cook down. And now while those are in, our croutons have about 10 minutes left. Our other cereal has about 20 minutes. I'm gonna start cleaning up. I had so much time even after that cleanup that I was able to unload the dishwasher, believe it or not. Oh, look at these croutons. Croutons are done. Cereal has about 10 more minutes. Oh my word. Oh my gosh. Better than the store. It would be even better if I made my own bread. That's the way to do it. Oil, Italian seasoning, Parmigiano Reggiano on top, the whole wheat crouton. Oh, that's good. We're gonna get these packed up into a storage container, and these are good to go. Now also let these cool completely to room temperature before you put the lid on, or you're gonna make them soggy. Here are the results. Half of the loaf got us all of these croutons and all of this cereal that's been flattened. And the other half of the loaf has gotten all of this cereal that hasn't been flattened, but no croutons. So I might want to do this again and do a full loaf unsmashed and see the result of that. But that's it. Look at that. Crunch test. That's perfect. That's perfect. Crunch test on our flat cereal. That's more like golden grams because we put honey on these. That's not bad at all. It's the same amount of bread without the edges, and the edges have made our croutons, but that's not bad at all. That's great. I prefer the texture of these over those because these are puffy. I would take those over that, but don't get me wrong. These are phenomenal too. And now for a crouton. For a salad, yes, yes, and yes. And that's all out of a $1.30 loaf of bread, and it took us an hour to make. And with cleaning everything, prep, cook, cleaning, everything, 1 hour. But I think I'm gonna stick with this. This has a completely, it's thick. I like these compared to the flat ones. These are butter, these are oil. These have honey, these do not. I like those better. I get it, I understand that these are just a cinnamon and sugar crouton with whole wheat bread. I'm gonna take these over those. Those are phenomenal. So this is just half of the loaf in cinnamon toast. This is flattened cinnamon toast and crouton. So this is half a loaf, this is half a loaf. Like that's the same amount of bread as that.
This one's a little crispy.
And that's just flattened, that's just rolled flat. This is with the edges, right?
I like that better.
Yeah, I like this way better. And you're getting way more. These, I added the garlic a little late, but... So those are just croutons.
Oh, I like them.
Yeah.
I like the regular non-rolled Cinnamon Toast Crunch, like crouton style. And I like the crouton. I can hear the crunch though, but you're gonna have to leave it for a second to see what the crunch does.
But that is great. I would rather make the bread and do it that way. It's still got a crunch to it. I don't mind that at all. It does get soggy moderately fast, but it still has a crunch to it. Yeah, I can see the flat ones holding crunch for a lot longer. Even with the honey, I much prefer non-smashed. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The flat ones still have a crunch. These are still crunchy, even right now. A lot more work to these. But these are fast, they're good, they're crunchy. They do absorb the milk a lot faster. So it's kind of like, what do you want? Do you want quick and a quick breakfast to eat pretty fast? Fast, a little bit of work, a lot of bit of work, crunchy or longer? I'm gonna go with these. I'm not planning on sitting down and eating cereal for 10 minutes. I'm gonna eat my bowl of cereal and be done. This is like a cereal bowl for me. These are ice cream bowls. These take the dub, period. They're crunchy. The cinnamon, the sugar, you can add sugar to them. Those take the dub. There's the taste test. But with that, as always, have a beautiful, blessed day. Tell somebody you love them, and we will see you on the next one.